Top DraftKings Fantasy Baseball Picks for July 23, 25. Must-start studs and bargain values. Fantasy Baseball Picks for today. Key DraftKings MLB DFS targets and values for Wednesday, July 23, 2025. Zach Thompson shares his top recommendations for today's fantasy baseball lineup on DraftKings, which kicks off at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time. With all 30 Major League Baseball teams having played on Monday, many series are concluding this Wednesday. To accommodate travel schedules, several getaway games are scheduled for early afternoon starts. However, there are still 5 exciting matchups under the lights that form the core of the main DFS fantasy baseball slate on DraftKings today. The contest will begin slightly earlier at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, featuring the Guardians facing off against the Orioles, and wrapping up with the Rangers taking on the Athletics in Arlington. Let's explore the 5 matchups available and identify the top MLB DFS picks for the evening. As we approach this time of year, keeping an eye on the weather is crucial. Tampa Bay remains a particularly significant location to monitor due to unpredictable pop-up storms, and the hitting conditions at George M. Steinbrenner Field can be very favorable if the game proceeds as planned. Make sure to check the latest weather updates before the lineups are finalized to determine if any adjustments are needed for your MLB DFS selections. Additionally, as lineups are announced, ensure that the players you have chosen are positioned as you expect them to be in their respective MLB lineups. Set your DraftKings fantasy baseball lineups here. MLB $125,000 bat flip, $25K to first. Pitcher. Stud. Slade Cecconi, Cleveland Guardians vs. Baltimore Orioles, $7, 500** typically. I wouldn't opt for a pitcher at this price point, but given the matchups and current form of the higher-priced options on this 5-game slate, Cecconi stands out. He has a solid ceiling and has been pitching deep into games, presenting a good opportunity against the Orioles. Cecconi recently delivered one of the season's most peculiar stat lines, pitching 8 1/3 innings against the Athletics right after the All-Star break, yet allowing 6 earned runs. Despite this, he secured the win and finished with 9.95 fantasy points, although the 3 runs he surrendered in the 9th inning negatively impacted his fantasy score. Nevertheless, the team clearly trusts him to pitch deep into games. In his 11 starts, he averages 16.0 fantasy points per game, holding a 5-4 record, a 3.84 ERA, a 4.47 FIP, and a 21.9% strikeout rate. He recorded 9 strikeouts and amassed 29.54 fantasy points in his last start before the break against the Astros. Notably, he has exceeded 18 fantasy points in 4 of his last 7 outings. The Orioles present a favorable matchup as they rank among the lowest in runs scored in the MLB over the past 2 weeks, averaging just 3.3 runs per game with a .232 batting average, a .281 WOBA, and a 22.3% strikeout rate during that period. Value. Taj Bradley, Tampa Bay Rays vs. Chicago White Sox, $7,000. Bradley is a fascinating name in the trade market, possessing significant potential and a high ceiling, yet he has shown inconsistency this season. The 24-year-old holds a 6-6 record with a 4.35 ERA and a 4.01 FIP, having achieved 11 quality starts in 20 appearances, although he has also experienced some challenging outings, particularly at home. Despite these rough patches, Bradley has demonstrated glimpses of his high potential in several starts, including his most recent performance just after the break. He faced the Orioles and earned 27.1 fantasy points by pitching 6 shutout innings, allowing only 3 hits and recording 6 strikeouts. Bradley has scored 18 fantasy points or more in 3 of his last 5 outings, and securing him at home against the underperforming White Sox for just $7,000 is an excellent way to maximize your budget. While there is a risk of a poor performance, his ceiling makes him a valuable target. Infield. Stud. Jose Ramirez, Cleveland Guardians vs. Baltimore Orioles, $6,000. Ramirez has been a driving force for the Guardians' offense in recent weeks, and his combination of power and speed provides him with a high ceiling in nearly every matchup. He has hit 21 home runs and stolen 30 bases this season, boasting a .295 batting average and averaging 10.2 fantasy points per game. Since July 4th, Ramirez has launched 8 home runs in his last 15 games, achieving a .283 batting average, a .528 ISO, and a .475 WOBA. Most of his power has come against right-handed pitchers like Zach Eflin, who the Orioles are set to activate before Wednesday's game. Eflin has given up 16 home runs in 12 starts this season, with a 5.95 ERA, a 5.72 FIP, and a 1.44 WHIP. The Guardians are a strong team to build around on Wednesday as they aim for a sweep, and Ramirez is central to their offensive strategy. Stud. Bo Bichette, Toronto Blue Jays vs. New York Yankees, $4. 400 ***. Bichette has been on fire since returning from a brief absence due to a knee injury. He didn't require a stint on the injured list and was back in action on July 4th. Since then, he has hit .339, 19.456, with 9 doubles, 1 home run, and a .402 WOBA. He averages 9.7 fantasy points over his last 12 games and maintains the same average in his 50 home games. At home this season, Bichette is batting .315, with 10 of his 12 home runs and a .384 WOBA. Securing Bichette at this price point, especially in his current form and in a home matchup, is an excellent choice for the shortstop position. Value. Angel Martinez, Cleveland Guardians vs. Baltimore Orioles, $3. 400 ***. Martinez has been a consistent presence in my picks over the past few weeks, providing outstanding value for the Guardians as he bats near the top of their order. The 23-year-old switch hitter has been batting first or second in the lineup for all 5 games since the All-Star break, going 11.424, .458, with 4 doubles, 1 home run, and averaging 14 fantasy points per game. In July, Martinez is hitting .319 with a .400 WOBA, contributing 13 RBIs and scoring 13 runs in 18 games. He has played a crucial role in the Guardians' resurgence following a 10-game losing streak, and despite a slight increase in his salary, he remains an excellent value at under $3,500, with eligibility at both second base and outfield. Stud. George Springer, Toronto Blue Jays vs. New York Yankees, $4. 800 ***. Springer has been a thorn in the Yankees' side this season, averaging 14.9 fantasy points per game against them. He recorded 2 hits and 2 walks on Tuesday, totaling 16 fantasy points, and has averaged 12.0 fantasy points per game in his 5 games since the All-Star break. Springer has a career batting line of .349 with a home run against Max Fried, who the Blue Jays faced earlier this month, where they scored 4 runs against him in 6 innings. At home, Springer is hitting .301 with a .411 home WOBA. Although his average against left-handed pitchers isn't as high, he has hit a significant portion of his home runs, 35%, against them, indicating his power potential. Stud. Cedin Rafaela, Boston Red Sox at Philadelphia Phillies, $4. 100 ***. Rafaela entered the All-Star break on a hot streak and has continued to perform well despite facing tough pitching matchups. He has recorded hits in 14 of his last 15 games and 18 of his last 20. During this 20-game stretch, Rafaela boasts an impressive .347 batting average, with 8 doubles, 6 home runs, 3 stolen bases, and an average of 10.95 fantasy points per game. His hard hit rate stands at 51.5%, with an average exit velocity of 91.3 miles per hour, indicating that his success is not merely coincidental. The 24-year-old has hit 6 of his 14 home runs off left-handed pitchers and should be able to deliver value against lefty Jesus Luzardo as the Red Sox aim to avoid a sweep in Philadelphia. Value. Michael Helman, Texas Rangers vs. Athletics, $2. 500 ***. Helman made an impressive debut after being promoted from AAA on Monday. The 29-year-old right-hander batted leadoff as the starting center fielder and hit a 3-run homer, earning 20 fantasy points. He may bat leadoff again on Wednesday against lefty J.P. Sears, and if he does, he represents an incredible value at this low salary. Helman has had a varied career in the minors, playing for the Twins, Cardinals, Pirates, and Rangers. He hit .270 in 33 games with the Round Rock Express, recording 7 home runs,